At this point, it's a well-known fact that Miyazaki is a big fan of Berserk and he loves to make a ton of references in his work, and of course the DLC of Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, is no exception. Not even 1 minute in the new area and we can already spot the Hangman tree. This tree was also present in the base game. This is the birthplace of Guts. He was born from the hanging corpse of his mother, showing his tragedy from the very beginning. In the DLC we can even find multiple corpse trees, probably meaning that Miyazaki really wanted people to find it. This tree looks very familiar from the shape to all those body hanging around. Not too far away we can find a phantom boss that is probably a homage to Guts. He has a repeated crossbow that can shoot multiple arrows very quickly. Guts has a similar crossbow that he can attach to his prosthetic arm, shooting multiple arrows in the same way. Not only that, but this enemy has a very familiar armor, from the looks to even the cape. The description says that the armor is made from overlapping plates of steel. Especially the gauntlets look like the Berserker armor, which similarly has a bunch of steel plates fused together forming that armor. There are also the already known references, but they are just enhanced. Like the Lion Claw, which was a move that Guts used while wearing the Berserker armor. In the DLC they added the Savage Lion Claw, which has a follow-up attack and is similar to Guts. If you have read Berserk, you probably already know that the Erdtree is inspired by the World Tree or the Helix Tree. Both of them are gigantic spiritual trees that can be seen from far away and are situated in the capital. But the DLC added even more references and connections. If you take a closer look at the Shadow Tree, it looks like a normal tree is being strangled or hugged by another tree, meaning it has a double helix just like the World Tree. But if you think this is a bit of a stretch and not really a connection, the next reference is even more clear. In the story trailer of the DLC it shows how Queen Marika ascended to godhood, and when she created the Erdtree from a mountain of corpses. The base of what is supposedly the Erdtree has again 2 helix or 2 pillars. We can even spot this in the final boss arena. The World Tree from Berserk was created from the corpse of Ganishka. Ganishka absorbs the power of many apostles, transforming him into a giant creature. Griffith used his body to create the tree and begin his new era where he is the main god, just like Marika when she became the god of her world after the tree was created. While still being here at the trailer, let's also discuss another connection between Marika and Griffith. In this scene it shows how Marika steps on a mountain of corpses, and from this she was able to become a god, by sacrificing a lot of people for her selfish desire. At some point Griffith had the opportunity to become a member of the God Hand, the strongest type of creature in Berserk universe so far. In order to become a god he had to step on the mountain of corpses from his allies that he had to sacrifice so he could reach his dream, to have his own kingdom. In the end he chose to sacrifice even the remaining of his allies in order to ascend into godhood. It's basically the same premise. Both of them sacrificed a lot of people and thanks to them they had become a god. One of, if not the main boss of the DLC is Messmer. He is the poster of this DLC and he is the one featured the most in the trailers. If you take a closer look at his helmet and his face, he is quite similar to Grunbelt in his younger years. Both of them are redheads with a helmet that has wings on the sides. At the top of the helmet, Grunbelt has a dragon. Later in his life he sacrificed his friends and had become an apostle, and now he has the power to transform into a crystal dragon. Messmer has a snake on the top of the helmet, and later in his fight he goes through some transformation, sacrificing a part of himself, and then he is able to somehow transform into a snake. Maybe the last part is a bit of a stretch, but at least the helmet shape is clearly inspired. Another bit of a stretch would be the furnace golems. In Berserk at one point the group reached the island Elfheim, and there they encounter a living fire wickerman. In concept the furnace golem in Elden Ring is similar, but both of them could be just inspired by the real life wickerman. This torture tool was used to stuff multiple people and animals to be burned as sacrifice. The reference starts when we put more context into this. In Berserk this enemy was created during a war, where the enemies of the island were stuffed and burned into these wicker men and then used as weapons further in the war. These giants can be seen in the trailer where Messmer used them to kill his enemies. We can still see the mountain of corpses from the war inside the golem. Another small resemblance is the Count Ymir. His dress looks like the dress of the Queen of Midland. Now, I might see too much into this, but hear me out. The Count Ymir at first looks like he is on your side, until you find out that he just used you in order to reach his goal. to become the Mother of the Fingers. Queen of Midland complots against Griffith and uses her allies to sneakily kill Griffith using poison. But both the Cantumir and the Queen of Midland reached their end when they were found out what their actual plans were. It's similar, but this is a very generic scenario, so this might be just a coincidence. The last big reference is an already known one, that being Miquella and Griffith. The DLC adds just many more references. The most known one so far was Miquella's and Griffith's cocoon, where both of them rebirthed from there. But Miyazaki really wanted to make this even more clear. Griffith is a very pretty guy who can be mistaken as a girl because of his long hair and angelic appearance. Miquella the same is a guy that has many feministic features to the point that people are not even sure about his real gender. This is because he is cursed to forever have a childlike body. Both of them aspire to become a god and create a better world in their own view. A world without conflict and where people will live good. And both of them wanted to follow the footsteps of their predecessor. Griffith wanted to become like King Isaac, but he wanted also to do things better than him and to succeed where he failed. Same with Miquella. Miquella the same wanted to become a god in the same manner that Queen Marika had become one, but he also wanted to make a better world that Marika couldn't. The majority of NPCs found in DLC talk about how they were drawn in the Shadow Realm by Miquella. In Leda's own words,
"We are all utterly captivated by kindly Miquella. It is what binds us together."
This line is something that is also said by the Band of the Hawk members about Griffith, how all of them were captivated and drawn by the light Griffith emits. Everyone sees Griffith as the chosen one, someone that can do anything that he puts on his mind, even becoming the king of the continent, Midland. Once Griffith is out of the scene, a big portion of the band is torn apart and many leave the group. They were here only because of Griffith. Griffith gave them purpose. Similarly, like Miquella gave all of those NPCs a new purpose, and they wanted to follow him wherever he goes. And finally, we have the final boss of the DLC. Previously, we discussed how Radahn is a fusion between multiple characters from Berserk, mainly Zod and especially King Gaisric. In this moment, right here, Radahn is the promised king of the new world, just like how King Gaisric was the king of Midland, the main portion of the land. And when Miquella joins him, seeing these two together, it reminds me of two duos. First one is Griffith and Zod. These two are seen together quite a lot, and Zod served Griffith after he was defeated by him. Now Radahn serves Miquella after he was defeated by us and reanimated by him. But it looks more similar to a flashback from Berserk. It is not confirmed, but it's pretty clear that Skull Knight is King Gaisric. I have an entire video talking about that. In one of his flashbacks, we can see him with his dying wife in his arms. The queen appearance looks similar to Miquella again, just by looking at his hair. So this duo, Radahn and Miquella, looks like King Gaisric and his wife, the rulers of their world versus the promised rulers or the one who wanted to become the rulers of their world. But neither of them managed to reach or maintain that position. So these were all the references I personally could find. If you notice more, I would love to hear them in the comments. I'm a very big fan of Berserk and I really love to see all these references in Miyazaki's games. If you like Elden Ring and want to know more, especially about the lore, subscribe to this channel because I have in plan to make a video where I discuss about the lore of the main bosses, but most importantly, the big conspiracy that Miquella and Malenia had planned in order to overthrow Marika and making them as the new rulers and gods. There are a lot of references and mysteries that were solved into this DLC, so I can't wait to talk about this. So I will see you in that video or anything else would you like to watch on my channel. I hope you really have a good rest of the day and I will see you next time. Bye bye.